Hello, good people, and welcome back to a math video. We are going to be talking about a review of the coordinate plane. Let's get started. There's kind of a lot to this, so this video might be a touch longer, but we'll take it step by step. All right, so we'll get started first by thinking that the coordinate plane has two axes, and these are essentially lines that go on forever and ever, and they help us determine where some different points are going to be. And the axis that is horizontal or looks left and right, we are going to call that the x-axis. The axis that is vertical, or we might say up and down, that is the y-axis. So that's kind of the first piece to think about. We have two axes, the x-axis, the y-axis. Another piece to think about is that each of these sort of squares here, or areas, they're not really squares, but each of these areas has a special name. And they are quadrants. So I'll write that up here. It's kind of a long Q word, quadrant. And very specifically, this is quadrant number 1. Then we have quadrant number 2, quadrant number 3, and quadrant number 4. A coordinate plane is basically a graph, and you can count by different sort of intervals. I'm going to count by ones to keep it simple. And I'll start on the x-axis. So going across here, each of these would be one jump, one sort of unit. And I could label them. This would be number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, number 6, number 7, and number 8. Now, you don't see a 0 written, but there is a 0. The 0 would be right where the two axes meet. And this has a special name. This is called the origin. So there is a 0 in there. It's right there in the origin. Now, just like we counted by ones on our x-axis, we can also count by ones on our y-axis. So going up, I would have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and so on. This can just keep going and going. In theory, it just goes on forever in that direction. So we can just keep going and going. Now I want to point out that so far, both of these sets of numbers are positive. So they would be positive 1, positive 2, positive 3. But we could go in the other direction, and the numbers would be negative. So if I were to start at the origin, which remember, the origin is right in here, and if I'm going to move in the other direction on the x-axis, my first number is going to be negative 1. And then I would have negative 2, then I would have negative 3, negative 4, and so on. And also the same would be moving below the origin for the y-axis. This point would be negative 1. I'm just not writing it because it's too crowded here. Negative 2, I'll write this one. Negative 3, negative 4, negative 5, and so on. Because all the numbers in quadrant 1 are either moving in this direction on the x-axis and this direction on the y-axis, every single point that is in quadrant 1 will have a positive location. The x value will be positive and the y value will be positive. But that's not the same in all the quadrants. If we come over here to quadrant 2, the x values are now negative numbers. The y values are still positive. So in quadrant 2, the x values will be negative, but the y values will be positive. In quadrant 3, our x values are negative and our y values are negative. So both of them will be negative numbers. In quadrant 4, we're back to some positive x values, but the y values will be negative. Okay, now that we've gone over the basics of what the coordinate plane is and laying out the quadrants, let's start to plot some points. So whenever we get a set of points that kind of looks like this, it's called an ordered pair. There's two numbers always, and the first number is always the x value, and the second number is always the y value. So because the x value is always first, we're always going to plot that point first. So for the first one, 4, 2, the way that I would figure this out is I would start at the origin, which remember is right in here, and then I would go 4 spots in the positive x direction, which is going to be to the right. So 4 spots would be 1, 2, 3, 4. And you don't have to make these marks. I'm just making them to show you kind of how I'm jumping across the x-axis. Then I've gone over my 4, and now I need to do my y value, which is a positive 2. So that would be 2 jumps up. And this spot right here would be 4, 2. And again, you don't need to have all those jumpy marks on there. I just put those in so you can see what I was doing. Let's plot another one. Okay, so 6, 7. So again, x value first, I'm coming over 6, so that would be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, and then I have to go up 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and right there would be 6, 7. But our values are not always going to be positive. So in the next one, right here, I have a negative value for x. So again, I'll start at the origin, and then when I'm there, I'm going to go to negative 2. Now that would be the opposite direction on the axis. So negative 2, 1, 2, would be right over here. My y value is 4, a positive 4. So I'm going to be going up from the axis. So 1, 2, 3, 4. And the point negative 2, 4 would be right here. Negative 4, 3. Okay, again, my x value is negative, so I have to start at the origin and then go 4 in the negative direction. 1, 2, 3, 4. Then up 3. 1, 2, 3. And negative 4, 3 would be that spot right there. Negative 3, negative 1. Well, this time both values are negative. So start at the origin again, and then negative 3, my x value first, 1, 2, 3, but now negative 1. So my y value is a negative. My y value is a negative, so I have to go down 1. So this point right here would be negative 3, negative 1. The next one is negative 5, negative 2. So start at the origin again, and then, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, in the negative direction for x, and then 1, 2, negative direction for y, and that would be negative 5, negative 2. Last one, let's see, last couple here. 6, 2. Oh, I have a positive value for x, 6. Okay, so I'm going to be moving in the positive direction for x. So start at the origin, then 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Ooh, but my y value is negative. So I have to go down for my y value. 1, 2. And negative 6, 2 would be that spot right there. Last one. 4, negative 5. So the 4 is positive. So again, to the right for my x value. 1, 2, 3, 4. But my y value is negative, so I have to go down. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And that would be 4, negative 5. Okay, there's a lot to this one, so we'll just hit the key ideas real quick. All right, number 1, coordinate plane, we have these two axes. Okay, the horizontal one is going to be called your x-axis. The vertical one, that's called your y-axis. Every section in here is called a quadrant. So this is quadrant 1, quadrant 2, quadrant 3, and quadrant 4. X values can be positive or negative. Y values can be positive or negative. We always begin at the origin, which is right here in the center where these things meet. And then we're going to start with our x value first. So that's going to be the first number in our ordered pair, this one right here. Always going to think about that one first. You might have to move to the right if it's positive, move to the left if it's negative. After you figure that out, then take a look at your y value. And again, it might be positive or negative. Positive, you're going to be going up. Negative, you're going to be going down. All right, that's it. That's coordinate plane review. Have a great day. We'll see you soon.